Good morning.
Good morning. You're just getting up bright and early out there on that West Coast, aren't you?
I've moved over to your side.
Oh,
Well,
that's right. That's right. You're in New York. Okay.
yep,
Now it makes sense.
yep. Good old New York. It's nice. I slept until like 11, but uh, but yeah. Where are you?
I'm in Nashville at the moment.
Oh, nice.
Probably be here for here for a little while. Probably until I catch up with you guys next.
Oh, cool. So
Mhm.
in Seattle,
Mhm.
are you planning on coming a little early? Like,
Yes.
nice. I think we're gonna try to get there like end of July, like July 31st, August 1st.
Cool. I'm trying really hard to go to Oregon first and see Nina.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
Yeah, she and I have been chatting again. She's got something really interesting going on, building homes, clean homes, natural construction.
Well, I know from
And she's very secretive and non-NDA about it.
oh my God. Oh my God.
I know.
Uh, yeah, well, I've definitely heard stories from Lorelai about house sitting Nina's house and protecting the ants and like spiders.
Oh
Like
my
I can
gosh.
only
The baby
imagine.
spider that lives in the shower. Yeah.
Yeah, she's our friend. Well, it looks like we might have a quiet meeting today.
Right? Well, you and I are the ones with Bloomios.
Yep, yep, makes sense.
And mine's on hold anyways, for the most part. Although the one thing I want to know is who made that little Giveth logo that has the tiny little house inside of it?
Arno.
Okay, I want to put that onto the Giveth gathering thing.
Yeah, right. Isn't that nice? I loved it too. It's like, oh my God, who
It's
did
so
that?
cute.
Yeah. Hey Jeff.
Hey guys, how goes?
Just hanging out. Glad to see someone else showed up.
Yeah.
Um, Well, what we can start with, what did we do this week?
Sure, I'll go first.
Yeah, sorry, I see.
That's all good. I feel like most of this week has been decentral, but there is lots of Giveth stuff in there too. Um, I've been working on the unicorn agenda. I really want to make sure we have that unicorn meeting. I feel like that's really important. Um, Talking to quite a few people about onboarding to the DApp and having donors lined up in advance. So it's actually kind of nice because having the documentation to onboard for Decentral is giving me what I need to share with other people. Um, but yeah, there's this campaign DAC that I've been kind of sitting on for a while until other people are interested in it. And all of a sudden, we had two new people show up who are interested in it with Ernest of Gaia and the stuff he's doing with on the reservations out in North Dakota, and then Altruist Relief, who's doing this mobile infrastructure stuff for ecological restoration. So I'm kind of excited about that. But it's not taking up a lot of time yet, or it's not actually manifesting yet. We're just kind of making sure we have the groundwork for it. I'm also doing some whitelist maintenance, getting some people removed off there this week and adding a few other people in. Reward DAO has been going pretty heavy. There's new people coming in and creating milestones without reading documentation. So I'm kind of having to back people up a little bit, go back a few steps and show them what they missed and explain things. Really happy that Marco wants to work with me on making that easier because I'm just realizing that I'm an overly complicated person and I'm okay with stuff being complex, but we need it to be a lot more simple. So that's mostly what I'm working on. I feel like I have all kinds of communication channels open. So it's really interesting. I've been figuring out how to pull data into one place and share it when it comes in on one stream, how to get it to the other stream. And yeah, like I said, I'm in Nashville right now and looking forward to meeting up with everybody on the West Coast in a few weeks. I'll pass it over to you, Jeff. Where are you at?
I am just wrapping up my time back home in Ontario. Tying up a bunch of loose ends here. Primary deliverable has been these documents. So I've been putting a ton of time into polishing them up, drawing lots of diagrams, iterating on how best to convey this information. And yeah, it's going good. Looking forward to connecting with Max from Magic Powered soon. I am going to set up a call with him. Actually, let me note for that so I don't forget. Talking to him today, hoping to get some time with his team over the next couple of weeks to prepare some wicked presentation decks for TEG and Web3. Other big things this week. I've been busy on the Twitter trying to push out a lot of the concepts of the common stack, chatting with Glenn Weil and Vitalik a little bit, some back and forth with Z. Meeting up with Outlier tomorrow. I'm going to get some FaceTime with Jeff and Anesu. Unfortunately, Eden is not in town, but hopefully I can start pushing these finalized docs and maybe even talking some fundraising with them. What else was I? We're just talking about what we did last week. Yeah, lots of reading about cybernetics. Have been getting into kind of this new world of cybernetic governance, and hopefully building that into our communication angle at some point as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Looking forward to wrapping up some loose ends while I'm back home and hit the road again in Barcelona next week. Griff, have you gone yet? Or I guess
Nope,
not.
not yet.
Cool.
So yeah, there's been. I did a meetup last night, which was really great in New York. We did a little fishbowl panel, and again talking about the being able to basically issue stock for nonprofits and allowing them to compete in the economic models. People really seem to be jiving with that, especially since it was the audience. So I was really happy with that. Spent a lot of time on Decentral this week as well. It's been the main focus, although also working a little bit with Lorelei on the video that they're doing in Tijuana, and that's really good. Also trying to get Giveth integrated into Metacartel, which is really cool. Have a meeting with him, with the devs from Metacartel today, to see if we can build something on top of Giveth that Metacartel can use and then integrate. There's also a little bit of token bonding curves with DAppNode and GraceAid, trying to push those forward and get the finance app integrated into Giveth. Should be really cool. And let's see what else. A little bit of chats here and there, obviously Twitter and the Slack, and reviewing documents on Common Stack. There's been some discussions with Telegraph. Man, I don't know. I'm sure there's some other things, but that's probably the bulk of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have only 3 people here. I don't know if that's quorum to do Lumio proposals. What do you guys think?
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think so. So then we can jump straight to fireside chat. Do you guys have any topics you want to talk about?
Well, we can always talk decentral. I thought it was interesting what you just said, though, about the meetup last night, because I hadn't heard you use those terms before, that like stock in nonprofits. Is that a new evolution of language a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I should never use those words, right? But it's effectively the idea, right? That we are able, here, the concept is that for-profits can compete on the economic model that exists today, because the value they produce is quantified by the current economic model, whereas the value that nonprofits produce isn't quantified by the economic model, although there is still value there. However, for-profits have another advantage, which people don't really talk about, but they can be buddy-buddy with the SEC and all of a sudden issue stock that represents the value that they will produce in the future. And so that is something that's making like a kind of what I call a runaway reaction, because I have a chemistry background, but it's like the for-profit is already trying to take profits out of externalities, right? They already have this situation where they're incentivized to take advantage of the things that nonprofits are fighting to protect, right? Because these externalities don't end up on their spreadsheet. So it's like it's easy to pollute a river because, you know, that's free money. They don't have to deal with the pollution. Then the nonprofit's trying to protect the river because there is value in that river, even if it's not on the spreadsheet. But then this company can issue stock to raise funding so that they can do a better job at polluting that river, right? More. And so now you have this situation where the for-profit company already has an advantage, has an even greater advantage. And we can't, the goal for me is really to give these nonprofits value, like give them an economy that does value their work directly. But I think for now, we can skip that step and at least allow them to compete on the same level as for-profit companies when it comes to being able to create a financial asset that is a derivative of their future value.
Right.
And
that makes sense.
yeah, and it's huge. I mean, this is where I love talking about like Jeff Bezos being the richest man in the world. In fact, having way more money than Amazon's ever made in explicit profits, and it's because he issued Amazon stock, and he got 40% of it, and only sold 10% of it, and it went to the moon. And that's just all fake paper money that, you know, our whole financial industry is such a scam, right? But hey, at least we should let nonprofits participate in that scam. At least, you know, this is how I pitch it to real people. It's probably not allowed to pitch it like that, unfortunately. What do you think, Jeff? Can we just say the whole financials industry is a scam? Let's let nonprofits play the same scam.
I think it can be one of our angles, but I don't think it should be our main angle. I think it can be, I mean, it's just dangerous, I think, to say we are issuing securities for nonprofits like that, or we are enabling nonprofits to issue their own securities. I think there are likely reasons. Actually, like, I mean, I'm curious why, you know, those nonprofits are kept out of that system in our current economies. Like, why do we need these novel crypto economic mechanisms to do it versus just allowing, you know, the SEC financial markets? And I just think it paints a target on us if we are saying that we are creating infrastructure for nonprofits to launch their own securities, which is essentially what that message boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things. The big thing is liquidity, right? That's the main reason the gate is closed and the SEC has to allow people in, is because if you don't have enough people that want to buy that stock, then the tokens, the stock's value can go very wildly, and that's not good for anyone. And so it's dangerous to allow them to. So like the big technical achievement of the of blockchain in this regard is token bonding curves that
for liquidity.
Yeah, for liquidity.
So what is the minimum size of a company doing like an IPO or being listed publicly?
Well, when Amazon got listed, they had about 300 employees, and I think that's a fairly, like, I wouldn't say minimum, but like, you know, they're looking for sure over 100 employees and, like, you know, a serious business that's been around for years.
So I guess the SEC, you know, moderates or regulates these investment markets so that companies don't just come out of the woodworks, offer something that sounds too good to be true, fools a bunch of average Joes into giving them money, and then runs off to Tijuana with the money. Which no regulation. I know what you got down there, Lorelei. Suitcase of money.
Parliament.
So I guess that's, if we are saying, we are enabling unregulated securities for small, small liquid token offerings, the issue of regulation, the issue of every, grace aid, small charity that launches a bonding curve and then convinces a bunch of average Joes that this is going to change the world and then runs to Tijuana with the money. I do think there are potential legal snags with that narrative. I think it's an incredibly good way to explain in a breath what we're doing, but I don't know that it should be our prime, we are creating securities for nonprofits.
No,
Yeah.
No, the thing I thought about when I heard that, and I can't help it, but I picture Eddie Murphy and Trading Places a lot when conversations go here, and I'm thinking about pork bellies all the time.
Yeah.
And like there's the whole pork belly future thing. I'm like, okay, so this is an opportunity for a nonprofit to speculate or to offer people ways to invest in 500-year-old tree benefits, right? Like something that has this super long-term value, not just a quick turnaround. Or it doesn't even actually have to be long-term, but putting value, futures of the river actually being clean, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. And I think an important part of this angle too is that the framing that we are not looking for, because I think there is a tension here, and this is where a lot of Luke Duncan's concerns come in, is that we're appealing to speculators. Speculators want to make money off their investment, but we need to also say that this isn't about value extraction. This is about valuing new forms of wealth in these nonprofits. So it's valuing the wealth of the forest as a forest, not just the monetary value of that forest. So, an investor in 500-year-old tree coin may not be looking for a 10x, 100x venture capital scale return. We are looking to keep that wealth within that ecosystem. And I mean, there may be some return, but really we're comparing with the value of a donation. So it's better than a complete loss, but it's still not, it's not investing like you're hoping to hit rich on penny stocks. I mean, it could be lucrative, sure, if there is a large value to be grown in this community. For example, if we are reducing our climate footprint worldwide, obviously there's huge value in that. People who got in super early may see good returns, but at the end of the day, it's not about extracting value from these communities. It's about building more capital efficient economies towards specific goals.
And sustainable funding. The thing is, it is about value extraction to a point for the people that are part of the hatch, because they need sustainable funding to achieve those goals. And the only way to get sustainable funding is to extract value out of the value you produce so that you can feed it into more value. Now, the challenge here is that we're not extracting value from externalities, right? We're extracting value effectively from the creation of a financial asset itself. And that is just this is the actual thing that's happening. This is the actual mechanic. It is a completely financial system, right? That we are effectively creating value out of nothing by creating a financial asset that represents that value that didn't exist before. And I mean, we can dance around it all we want, but that is why it becomes sustainable, right?
Through the friction fee fed back in as an input. Is that?
So there's too many ways to look at it, right? So when you're hatching, you're creating an asset that never existed before. It has nothing to do with the friction fee.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally creating an asset that is backed by $1 million that has a market cap of $5 million. So you just created $4 million out of nothing. That's just what happens. So like we can dance around it, we can play these games, and we probably have to an extent, but we shouldn't be confused about the reality of the situation, you know? And so the hatchers get value out of the creation of the financial instrument itself, just as any startup or company that does an IPO gets that value, right? But then after that, the value is produced. That's when what you're talking about is what really matters, where it's versus donations. So it's this like, you know, people who are starting it, the people on that white list, they are getting value out of the creation of an asset, whereas people who buy the token afterwards, their value is more akin to what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. So there's kind of that we are looking from this trusted seed of people that we are starting with, and especially since this is the first time, I feel like we're offering them a really good deal. You know, that the creation of this financial instrument will benefit because we have to offset the risk of doing this the first time and not knowing exactly how it's going to pan out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. The creation of the financial instrument is more like, well, I mean, we call it that. It's not really a financial instrument, but
it is. We can't. I'm sorry. Like I mean, we can try to live in denial if we want, but like the thing is, what it's not is a security. It is not a security.
Yeah.
Because not all financial instruments are securities. The Howey test is the thing, and it's a utility because number one, it will be non-transferable, so you can't trade it in third-party exchanges. It's only useful in the system itself because the system includes the token bonding curve, right? And the other, and I mean non-transferable even for the people who buy in the open phase, right? They won't be able to transfer it, and it's no, they'll only be. We have to make it non-transferable to avoid being a security.
So no secondary market trading?
No, definitely not to start. Now, of course, if the DAO decides to make the token transferable,
oh yeah, right. Okay.
You know, that's whatever, but that's not in our design.
Right.
We just give them that power, but in the end, it's a fully decentralized system.
Yeah.
So you know, if a fully decentralized system says that they want to make the token transferable, fine. But and also like no escape hatches. So basically, those are the two big wins that we get. Is to make it not a security, it will be fully decentralized, and it will be issue. There's also this it's not a loophole, but if the only person who is buying who gets to buy and sell the security is the issuer itself, then that's a different class. It's not a security.
Right. Yep.
Interesting. Hi, Lorelai.
Good morning.
Hello, Lorelai. How's Tijuana?
It's great. It's very good. Did you guys check in and all that, or has it just been fireside chatty?
Both.
Yeah. We checked in. Did you want to say what you did this week?
Yeah, because I'm proud. So yeah, this week I have been in Tijuana at the Alibre office, working with a little group of people here to produce this video submission for the UNICEF grant. And we had a lot of success yesterday. We went to Castro Limon and really built trust upon what was some false assumptions about the grant, and really we did a really good job with communication yesterday. I'm like proud of this little team for that, for honesty and integrity there. And yeah, we're gonna have this video rough edited by the end of this week and be getting it out probably completed next week sometime. I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I've been throwing a bunch of focus into this, leading up to coming to Tijuana as well. But I also have been working with Frederick on making the chat bot, a feature of the chat bot where it can send messages scheduled to be on a date, so that on like the 10th and 25th, the unicorns are reminded, hey, this is your week to delegate. And on the couple days before that, contributors will be reminded to make milestones. So that's really awesome. And doing life logistics things, figuring out how to get us to Edu's wedding. And yeah, I'm really excited to come back to Barcelona. And I just no intentions, or I'm kind of like, I'm working on some other things while you guys chat, while we chat. So we're all distracted, but it's just nice to be here, checking in with you all. That's my
Okay.
intention.
I have a question for you.
Mhm.
I didn't, is the what you're working on with Frederick for the scheduling, is that all just in your conversations? Is it in GitHub? 'Cause
Good question. I mean,
I ask because I want to leverage it, and I know you have the issue in GitHub, and I have a couple issues in there as well, and some new contributors. So as much as we can show our work for what comes after, I want to
good point.
encourage that.
Good point. Yeah, I don't know if he's put anything in GitHub. I've just been chatting with him about it. But I will prompt that.
Also on the video, there's also, I think, a form that while you're down there, we really need a Libre to fill out a bunch of like details about, because it's more than a video. There's also a application.
Okay.
And it's mostly their business information.
Okay.
So like, there's nothing we can. I mean, I think you need to hold their hand and make sure they fill it out.
Okay. Thanks.
You might need to talk to Michael about that,
Okay.
or look it up somewhere. I'm sure it's on the website of the thing.
You know, honestly, it is super hard to find this specific grant information on that website. It's just like a loop. You click on like something that's supposed to be like leading to you to the specific grant, and then you get there and it's like, oh, go to this specific grant, and it leads you back to the homepage. And like, I have never been able to find the UNICEF webpage of this specific grant.
I will grab it and send it to you. I do have it here linked. I think it might be in I'll find it.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, what else? You guys got anything else for the fireside chat?
Oh wait, Danny, you
Mm-hmm.
were saying there's an issue about this. Isn't it in the comms?
No, it's in the Giveth bot, Giveth-bot repo. I've been guiding contributors when they have feedback on different things, like the points thing from the unicorn. When you shared that feedback that you got the email about ETH on Reward DAO campaign when I awarded you unicorn points. So I created an issue to change or to exclude unicorn points from that message on the Giveth bot repo. And then I saw you had your scheduling issue up there from back in January. So I'm directing people to go look at that repo and work on issues. But if you guys are already working on that, I want the work to be shown so people know.
Well, it looks like Frederick has been commenting on this issue recently, so. Yeah. But I don't know if his work is actually being shown in GitHub.
Yeah, but even like your requirements, like what it actually does, should be in there when we know what it is.
Well, I think I made a pretty specific like issue description.
Yeah.
but it was a while ago, so I don't really even remember.
I just know I've been hoping that one gets done because I want to schedule the reward down messages too for people to create their milestones and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he's pretty much almost done with it, he says. So that's cool.
So adding Lorelei to the four of us, does that get us near a quorum to talk about Lumios, or should we just stay with fireside chat?
What do you guys think? What do you
I
think?
thought 5 was what we needed.
Okay.
What Lumios do we have?
Well, I can just tell you that I didn't rescind it, but I put a pause on the Lumio I did for Protea because they have a new partnership to improve their onboarding processes. So I don't really want to invite anybody to come join the community until that is completed. So I don't want to use and also using it in any way to add it on to Burning Man is clearly another layer of complexity where people are already having enough challenges using Giveth and MetaMask. But using it, I want to set it up for the house. Griff's suggestion was that people who go stay at the house can join the Giveth Gatherings community there and put a donation into the pool. And then we can use the pool to cover expenses at the house. So that feels like a good next step.
Yeah. I like that.
Cool. Well, any other topics that we want to discuss?
I'm pretty good.
Well, we can always end our community meeting early. It's definitely never something that
Rarely happens.
it's very rare. Well, cool.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Bowen was gonna sneak in here because we need him for the reward DAO scoring for June. But Griff, if you have a moment to look at that spreadsheet with me, I'm sorry to ask you again, but it's weird. The spreadsheet's just weird.
Yeah.
When I copied June, there's like a big gap of blank name and then more names after that. I don't know how that happened on the June one. I'll plug the file name in here somewhere. Let's see. I think I have it open. One of these computers. Well, not that we need that right now, but if we're going to end this early and have something else to do, I could use some help on that.
Let's check out, and then I'll turn off the live stream, and we'll hack on that.
Cool.
Okay. So, well, thanks, guys, for a quick, easy meeting. It's always good to touch base, and we'll see if we can get quorum next week. I'll pass it to Lorelei.
Thanks. Nice to drop in here, and I'll probably stick around. That's all. Jeff?
Yes, great to catch up with everybody. And sorry if I missed anything there. I was running up and downstairs in the last 5 minutes. But yeah, looking forward to moving forward on all these fronts. And we will catch up again soon. Griff?
Danny.
Yeah. Thanks for the fireside chat and talking tokenomics. I'm always really interested to understand how we're helping store a value of things and use the fund resources we have wisely. So I appreciate you sharing that. And yeah, thanks all. Let's move till next week on this one. Back to you.
Well, see you guys.
Yeah.
Live stream is